Hey everybody, it's Irate Prostate here, and it's Friday night. You know what that means? It's time for a Creem stream. It's Creem stream number 45 because it's Friday the Creemteenth. All right, and in the studio with me tonight, I have as guest Tema the Hun.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
All right, and Johnny Hellcat.
Sounds good. You guys do tonight?
Good, man. And of course, some old familiar faces. Harlequin's Happy Hour, also known as Allie.
Hey.
And of course, Sir Adamantine.
Cheers, everyone.
All right. Well, all right. We're the bird's in the air. The landing gear is retracted, and we are flying. So.
Was that some kind of mean Griffin joke there? Or?
Well, no, not necessarily. But I'm not that fucking clever, to be honest. So, you know, it's just. Anyway, how's everybody doing?
Doing good. Things are a lot better this week.
Yeah, you were sick earlier this week, so you're definitely doing a lot better than that.
Oh yeah, and it happened to be like the week of my birthday too, so it was a good time, you know.
Oh, that sucked. Well, happy belated birthday.
Well, thank you. I did it to myself, you know. I did it to myself. It was my bad.
So, has anybody got anything that they want to talk about? Anything outstanding that has been going on? Something maybe in the I'm going to pull Jason. All right, Jason.
Hello.
Hey, man.
Yay.
Irate Prostate here. So we got everybody's in the house tonight, and this is Jason from. What do you refer to yourself as, so I can get it correctly?
Well, I usually go by my name, but I also have a self-given nickname. It's Bitter Elasticat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've got a show. You've got a show on. Is it Friday evenings too?
Yeah, we just didn't go tonight because I was trying to nail down some technical things.
Okay, I know those damn things can be a problem, man. And what's the name of the show?
Hellcats.
That's I brought that up because I knew that's what the name was, because I got one of the people here is named Johnny Hellcat. And I thought that was serendipity, so maybe we've got some kind of, some love connection here. Maybe. Later on. Yeah. Not necessarily, the real type, but, hey, maybe some type of collaborative thing going on. So,
yeah, well, we haven't really had guests yet. We're trying to nail down a format, but, I'm willing to entertain the idea of guests once we do that.
Killer. All right, well, so... there's been so much stuff that's happened this week, and a lot of it crayon. A lot of it needs crayons because it's fucking childish. A lot of drama going on. Does anybody got anything they want to talk about regarding that, or is there anything in the news that's been going on that somebody wants to talk about?
Well, why don't we talk about how Louis Gomer fucking nailed Peter Struck? Is it Peter Struck?
Sturzak, but he doesn't know how to say his own fucking name, so everybody's calling him Struck.
Okay. Well,
I went Trey Gowdy with that, and I
beautiful.
Died. I couldn't even. I don't give a damn, actually.
Oh, there are so many great Trey Gowdy clips on YouTube.
He's my favorite. I am so sad that he's retiring.
Me too.
I really want him to be our Attorney General. I think he would do a great job at it.
That's what the scuttlebutt is that's why he's retiring, is so he can pursue and maybe even end up as a Supreme Court nominee when Ginsburg kicks the bucket. So
that would be so good.
That would be so cool.
Yeah,
which has to
he's
be
one of the
day
good
now.
guys.
He's also a literalist when it comes to the Constitution. So
yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like he's one of those guys that on either side, he's fighting for what he believes is right, and like he does a good job at it, and he's got a good heart at it. and he'll grill the people on the Republican side the same way he grills the people on the Democratic side. Like, I mean, he just doesn't pull punches, and so he's one of those guys that if you're sitting across the way and he's asking you questions, you probably hate him. But watching him is just, he's incredible. He gets to the heart of the matter quickly in an entertaining manner that you can sit on C-SPAN and like watch Trey Gowdy grill people all day, and it doesn't get old.
Yeah, I kind of wish he could be the new AG.
Well, you never know. You may get your wish, because that's both of those options appear to be in the air. And I think the AG, I think after the midterms, it's time for Sessions to scoot along, because he's proved to be fucking inept and totally incompetent in his job.
And completely political. There's so many people.
Well, he hasn't even done anything except all drugs need to be illegal since he's been there. Everything else he's recused himself from. He's
been a bad choice just from the word jump. I wish.
I think it was just one of those political hand jobs that, it's like, okay, I'll put you in as AG if you help me, secure Alabama, which is a big red state and a lot of.
Well,
go ahead.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, him moving up to AG started a whole shitstorm with Roy Moore and fucking.
Yeah.
It's just headaches.
I don't know. The Roy Moore thing was pretty damned entertaining, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but now we have a freaking Democrat representing Alabama. That's not going to stand long, though.
Right. His name's Doug Jones, and he was a big fucking Clintonian sycophant. He was appointed to the court, the circuit court here by Clinton. So he's definitely in that global pocket. I can't stand the guy. I hated him even before I knew what his politics was. I just he just came off as being a smarmy piece of shit to me. So I'm in a pretty good call on characters as of late. So said something about the FBI guys testifying before Congress. So if somebody doesn't know what happened? So everybody can catch up.
Okay. Let me actually refresh myself on that. Because he was having an affair with an FBI lawyer, and they were carrying on this sweet talk all through the preliminary to the election, and then after the election. Okay, there are 7 wild moments from. Damn it!
There was go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say there was some pillow talk and some ridiculous bias displayed by both of them that were involved in investigating the Marussia and the Clinton email scandal. And it's pretty evident that his bias has completely affected his ability to properly investigate. And it kind of shows that they had already planned to say Clinton was totally not guilty of doing anything before they had actually looked at over half of the preliminary evidence.
Ridiculous.
And I think the thing that's most important about the Sturzak inquiry and the investigation is that it's not like, oh, look, the bias is there. These are all Obama files, deep state, yada, yada. No, it shows that we have so much incompetence in the FBI right now. We shouldn't be trusting anything they do until they clean their act up.
Right.
Yeah, they need to clean house from the top down.
Exactly.
I thought that guy was such a smug asshole.
Oh, the expressions on his face, he is a sociopath.
He is, oh God. Every time he would they'd ask him a question and he'd smile. Or like when Gowdy was questioning and they started in with all the, interruptions, and he just had this smug look on his face like, God, I just want to punch you. Like, you're just one of those guys nobody wants to be around.
Guy in the corner of the bar.
No doubt. Timma, we had talked before, and you were talking about some stuff that you wanted to bring up. So go ahead and throw it out there, and let's talk about.
Okay, I put the article in the Stream chat channel if you guys are interested in looking at it. So, kind of related to this, there has been a grand jury indictment against 12 Russian agents that work for some. Over Russia. Apparently they've decided to go through and do a grand jury indictment of 12 quote-unquote hackers that are like majors and colonels in some level of Russian government or Russian military. And they're saying that the Democrat campaign committee, the DCCC and the DNC and Hillary Clinton were all hacked by these 12 Russian people, and that these 12 Russian people that ran this little group, this department, they affected the election because they hacked and stole these emails, and now they're claiming that Guccifer 2.0 is part of the Russian government.
Well, it's amazing what the Russian government has time to do these days.
I know.
I mean, 12 people. My God, those are some fucking super hackers there, man. I mean,
and doesn't it seem like a bit of a waste of government money to be indicting Russian officials? I mean, where are you going to go with that?
Right. Exactly.
Hold on. Can we talk about Hillary Clinton for a second? Because she told me that those Benghazi emails were super duper safe, like that nobody could get a hold of them. And you're telling me that 12 guys with a bottle of vodka and a revolver were able to do this?
Yeah. They're basically using Bitcoin.
Mm.
And they use Bitcoin.
Hold on.
It makes it impossible to trace any kind of money trail, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Either you fucked up using the server for Benghazi, or you didn't. But you can't be hacked if you didn't. So you gotta pick one there.
And Obama
it's almost an indictment on yourself.
Right. Obama supposedly knew nothing about it, but it's shown that he absolutely knew about it.
Well, and not only that, they're making all these accusations, that Hillary Clinton and all these emails were stolen, and they're saying spear phishing and stuff was used, and the DNC, but nobody has been able to physically investigate either server
to
see what actually happened. Spear phishing is...
she burned it.
She did. When you use an email and it reroutes you, and it's a password capture, and it's really simple.
American hackers can't get in, but only the Russian hackers can.
Right.
Those bastards.
Oh, and Vault 7 means nothing. It's no significance that the NSA or anybody can mask their trace and show up as from anywhere. That's of no significance. Ignore Vault 7.
But ignore the fact that John fucking Podesta fell for a spear phishing email and that his password was password.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Obama 08.
It was password.
One of those passwords was Obama 08.
Yeah, I think that was
Isn't that scene
on the
from
DCCC server.
That scene from Spaceballs where they're like, "What's the password to the air shield?" And he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's the same combination an asshole has on his luggage.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And they're actually going to indict because they're being called out on being so fucking stupid they couldn't even hide their own dirty laundry correctly. This is the biggest temper tantrum I have seen somebody have in a long time, and it's on the taxpayer dole. So I was pretty floored by what I was reading about it today.
I just don't know how, as either side, you stand there and you defend a guy who is in a law enforcement agency, in a position of power, telling somebody, we're going to stop them from winning the election. And they're like, oh, it's the Russians.
Oh, but he should have won a Purple Heart.
Well, and you still have your job.
What that means, which is so sad and disgusting. Alan West was on the radio talking about that, and he was like irate.
Well, and they both the people that involved in the texts, the guy and girl that were having an affair together, they both still have their jobs, even though the FBI handbook says that you can't sleep with coworkers.
Right.
It's an episode of Criminal Minds.
Right, and some of their fucking...
It's a soap opera.
Right, their text messages back and forth to each other was like, they were calling Trump, they were calling him like a retard, and I mean, just ridiculous, you know, really non-professional words. I mean, it was really clear what the fucking bias, you know, and she looks like a fucking refugee from a Fish concert, man. You know, everything but the, you know, but the shitty, smelly, you know, patchouli oil, man. I'm glad it's not smell-o-vision, you know, because, well, for Jesus Christ, I mean, geez, you know, she was pretty rough looking too.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's neither here nor there, but it was that whole arrogance, man, that they're just you know, flipping. You know, they're flipping all of us off. You know, no matter who you voted for, they are on record as having said that the unwashed masses, the proletariat, you know, the deplorables that Hillary referred to, are nothing but complete morons who don't know what's good for them. And so, you know, once again, they got into that whole SJW bullshit, you know, where you know, this was all justified because it was going for the greater good, right?
I'm pretty sure, as far as the two sides go, at this point, the people who voted Trump know what's good for them far more so than the people who voted Hillary.
Well, I think there's a lot of people that are regretting ever thinking about voting Democrat in the first place at this point. God. The Democrats are just embarrassing. Supposedly they're up 12 million vote registrations from the last midterm election. But we also kind of have a legal immigration problem in a state called California, where if you could get an ID and a driver's license without proving your citizenship. So...
That's what I was about to say. It was like, yeah, that's where all those votes are, man.
And apparently a job.
You know,
I mean, the hashtag walk away has, in the last hour, 1,050 tweets.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all.
So many bots.
Yeah, all them Russian bots, man.
I just the other day saw off to the side an article I didn't read about how I believe it was Boston. I don't think it was Massachusetts as a whole, but just Boston was trying to make it legal for non-citizens to vote.
Well, California basically has that. If you can get a driver's license there, you can vote.
You know, I don't even see how that should be like a subject of debate.
It shouldn't be.
If there should be a subject of debate about voting, it should be like, did you perform military service? Are you a citizen? A la what was Stormship Troopers?
Yeah.
Would you like to know more?
Exactly. Well, you know, I'm not going to let this get off course, but that kind of was a great little, like, you know, this is a smart TV, like 20 years earlier.
Yeah.
Well, did you watch PewDiePie's video on Starship Troopers? It was really a good look at it.
No, I haven't. I don't watch a lot of PewDiePie stuff. My kids do, though.
I try to catch him every day because he usually has something. He's very entertaining, just generally.
Yeah.
Now, are we talking the movie or the book?
Well, he talked about both.
Okay, because the movie was like nothing like the book.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that.
Really? Is it something that's commonly said? I don't hear it very often. In fact, I've talked to a lot of people that don't even know the book exists.
Well,
that's one of the greatest science fiction writers of all time.
He is.
Just in general, people people talk about how the movie doesn't live up to the book or doesn't match up to the book at all, but it's so hard to adapt a book for a film.
Well, especially a Heinlein book.
Well, yeah, and that's Verhoeven, Paul Verhoeven. And I think really what he wanted to use that as a vehicle, to see, this fascist kind of concept of, and Heinlein, talks about this in the book. That's that whole, becoming a citizen if you serve. That whole idea of that's definitely addressed in the book. But it was like Verhoeven though had like kind of like a vision into what was to come, man, because I was talking to somebody the other day and it was like, would you like to know more? Because it's literally these stories that we have now, it's like click for more, and you see a little small blurb and then boom, if you want to see more about it, you can.
And the funny thing is, when that movie came out, which I think was like 98-ish or something, I bet you almost no one would have made that connection back then when they saw it. There was internet. It wasn't entirely uncommon back then, I don't think, but they still never would have like drawn the parallel between the two because it was so different from what it is now.
Well, yeah, that's prior to 9/11, before we had the Patriot Act. So
I'm just talking about the theoretical technology of the "Do you want to know more" part.
Right. Yeah, that's 1997 is when it came out.
Damn, I was close.
Yeah, that's one of my guilty pleasures. Go ahead.
We kind of had our internet. I love Heinlein because he explores things that are just very interesting. There was this one, Farnham's Freehold, which is an amazing book. It's one of the most controversial books he's ever written. And it explores like time travel and Black Israelites and nuclear war and survival. Very good book.
I will say Heinlein did write one of my favorite books, and even more so one of my favorite characters of all time. Any of you ever read Stranger in a Strange Land?
Such a good book.
And Jubal Harshaw. If I live to get old, that's how I want to be.
I remember. Okay, yeah. Awesome character.
Just a crusty old man who always got his way.
You're so close. You're not old.
What's that?
I said you're so close, but you're not old.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't always give them away. As witnessed on many of my streams and after streams. Inside joke, only some of you will ever get.
Though. It's so dry. Honest to God, I love the way that you can just deadpan something. It's the funniest thing.
Yeah, I have my moments sometimes. Sometimes it's just a sloppy mess.
Well, that's everyone. I'm a sloppy mess all the time.
I have kids.
Enough said.
Exactly. And they're all girls.
Oh dear.
How many?
3 girls. I mean, I have a son, but he's way older and moved out a decade ago.
So basically, you have 3 girls. That's
I
that's
have
the long and the short
of the corn. Yeah, I have children of the corn in my house with 3 girls.
What's the age range of the girls?
20, 11, and 6.
Oh, well, if you have a 20-year-old, you know what you're in for the other 2, then I imagine.
Yeah, kind of, except for my oldest is autistic, so it's a little different.
I gotta step away for a second.
11's gonna end up being fun when she starts the big change.
Already started. Yeah, we're having a good. Yeah, my gray hair is quadrupled in the last 6 months.
That's the word. Boys get awkward and their voices change a little bit and they're just kind of weird. Girls get mean
and crazy.
Yes,
emotionally unstable. You don't know what's going to set them off. They scream and cry about everything, and I don't care what people say. Girls are faster to hit than boys are. Way faster to start attacking each other. Oh. Oh my gosh. I keep hearing people say that men are far more violent and all this stuff, and I'm like, y'all have never been around a group of little girls, man. Ooh, they're mean. And the older they get, the meaner they get. What?
Like psychologically damage each other.
They
And
do.
it's like they could be best friends, and they're just like, look at how fat you look in that. My goodness. And all of a sudden their best friend has an eating disorder, and you're like, you know that you were being really mean, and now your best friend has an eating disorder. And they're like, yeah, well, you know, that's what happens when you have no mental toughness.
Yeah,
And you're like, Jesus Christ, you're ruthless.
Well, and the
Yeah,
way,
that's
they're
sisters.
Right, guys do this, man. They like, you know, motherfucker, I'm sick of your shit. They go out and they fucking fight. And then, like, with bloody noses, pick each other up, and we look at each other and go, you know what, man, you're not so bad after all. Goddamn, let's go get a beer. And you go in and you get you a fucking beer. It's over, you know? But you're right, man. Women are the Antichrist. When they're at war with each other, I mean, my God, I've seen. I don't think a Chinese torture chamber could compare to some of the shit that I've seen women do to each other.
Oh no, yeah, I was gonna say sisters, they go for the throat. And my youngest has got like the sharpest tongue I've ever seen. And it's like, oh, you need to stop now, little girl. That's enough. Yeah, no. It's one of the most stressful things in the world is trying to figure out how to mitigate a fight between the three of them. It's I'd rather go deal with Kim Jong-un, really.
No shit.
My sister and I were like constantly picking at each other or just like beating the crap out of each other. And my mom's like, you're supposed to be girls. You're supposed to be best friends and paint each other's toenails. And it might start out that way. We're laughing, having a good time, and then it's like, you're using that color? Yeah, I like that color. You know that color makes me look gross. Yeah, well, everything makes you look gross. Fuck you! And it's just like, everything was fine. What happened?
Man.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's just
No,
evil.
you see, a guy says that to another guy, and it's a joke that bonds them. I mean, not the fingernail painting, but insert similar.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like one of those things where you're like, everything's good, everybody's happy, and then out of nowhere, it's just like, you're like, oh man, what the fuck just happened? Like, abort.
Yeah, I was gonna say hairbrushes turned into wars in our house. I literally have bought probably 25 hairbrushes in the last, I don't know, year and a half. We have 3 now because they get so mad because that's my hairbrush. No, that's my hairbrush. They'll throw them at each other. Fine, you take it, and they'll throw it, and they'll hit the bed, they'll hit the dresser, they'll hit the floor with it, and it breaks. So I go through hairbrushes like nobody's business, and it's not because I hit the kids with them.
And like guys, it takes a long time to kind of get under their skin. Like you can rib at a guy and poke at a guy a little bit, and he's like, all right. And then eventually he's like, hey, cut it out. Girls, it's like,
You say cut it out, and that's just carte blanche to go do it again.
Ramp it up. It's like, do it twofold now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Double up, man. Jesus.
But girls go from like 0 to 100 like in 2 seconds. Like
yeah.
I mean, even in relationships, you see it like a girl who's been sitting at home for a minute, and the guy comes home, and they're like, hey, baby. And he's like, hey, how are you? Well, what the fuck do you mean, how am I? And you're like, I mean, I'm going to go back out to work. See you later.
Exactly.
How's that Louis C.K. joke go? Guys will fuck shit up, but girls are fucked up.
That's actually really accurate.
Have you got anything in the news that you want to talk about? I mean, that's kind of what this night is like. It's there was some other stuff that was set up and kind of collapsed through. So this is another one of those Plan B things, right? So I said, hey, it's Friday the Creemth. So
did any of you see Bering's video today?
No,
I haven't had a chance to watch it.
About Sadiq Khan?
Yeah. It was something I was like literally thinking to myself before he put that video out. The hypocrisy of Sadiq Khan saying that. Well, I put up that, or I allowed that.
He's the
floating
mayor of London.
London mayor. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I allowed. It's full of clips of him saying I allowed that blimp of Donald Trump to put up because it's free speech and free speech matters, and like he on and on about that stuff. And then he intersperses it with all of Sadiq Khan's, we can't have hate speech. You can't make people feel bullied on the internet. You can't talk like that.
Nice.
It's like the hypocrisy is like knee deep.
Why not just say, I'm afraid to piss off the Americans?
No, he's not. He doesn't. He hates us just like he hates his fellow Brits. He's a terrorist in disguise. He's the most dangerous kind of terrorist. He's the one who will destroy you from the inside.
Yeah.
Hey, I
We
got
call them cancer.
I got the finer print is kind of wanting to hang out. Yeah, I want to let him in for a little bit. See what's going on.
Absolutely not. He's a horrible human being. No, just
Okay.
I love him.
No, I'm the one who sent him the link to your Discord.
Oh, killer. All right, cool. Hey, man.
Hey.
What's going on?
Hey.
Hey, everything's going good.
Well, come
How's
on
it going
in.
with you?
Come on in, hang out. I told you come
Yeah.
by. So
Yeah. How you guys doing?
good, man. So was anything we were talking about striking a chord with you?
Oh yeah, the Trey Gowdy strong moments. Those were pretty golden.
God,
Oh, really? Being grilled by Trey Gowdy would be like the congressional equivalent of having a video made about you by Mr. Medicare.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, it depends on what kind of video.
If you did a good job, and everything was the way it was supposed to be, that shouldn't be a problem. But if you fucked up, you should be sitting there with a diaper on, because you're just gonna sit there shitting yourself the entire time.
And
Because he's
masturbating furiously.
he's gonna ask you the question that you're like,
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if any of you watched the Trey Gowdy segment, which was about half an hour long.
I did.
yeah.
I
He
didn't
wasn't
watch it.
asking
I
that
just
the
looked
very
at it.
difficult question to answer. The question was, how many interviews did you conduct?
Right.
And
I
he
saw the
couldn't even
highlights.
answer that.
I saw the highlights.
That whole. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that whole idea of, we work for either the Justice Department or the FBI or the CIA, and there are things we just can't tell you, Congress. That should be completely out of bounds. If there are things that are sensitive, then fine, you have a closed meeting. But there should be nothing that goes on in those agencies that shouldn't be reportable to Congress.
Well,
Absolutely.
what struck me as odd is that he kept going back to saying, FBI counsel has instructed me not to say anything. Bitch, you weren't even represented by FBI counsel. You came with your own lawyer.
Which I think was the funniest thing when the chairman pointed that out.
Yep,
And
I was chuckling.
then the other guy's like, He's like,
I was chuckling, and the thing that really irritated me was the Democrats calling points of order over and over and over again, just to try to subvert that whole thing.
Well, because they didn't want it to be aired just how biased that guy is.
Yeah.
they always interrupt Gowdy when he's in the middle of questioning. Like, you could see on his face, he wasn't even surprised. He was just like,
Oh, Gowdy is
And then-
a stone cold killer.
as soon as the guy is like, his time's up, and he's like, well, if I stop getting interrupted, maybe I could get through this.
Gowdy will be great on Kumite.
Oh my god.
The look, I posted it on Twitter, the look on the two in the front's face, they were both so shocked that you would even say that. It's like, have you not watched him anywhere ever before? Like, this is your colleague.
Right. Yeah, I think they were completely blindsided by the fact that he was just asking a very simple question, and they just instinctively went to point of order.
Oh, you can
The
tell
equivalent of shouting objection.
you can tell they pre-planned what they were going to do, which makes
Oh,
it all the
absolutely.
sadder about how poorly it came off.
Oh, absolutely. You know it was planned, and they did the same thing with Mueller. You know, it's oh, we can't harass the witness. We can't be. We have to protect the witness. He has rights.
The more that I'm like mulling around in my head what Sir Amantine said, it's like they should fucking answer to the people and to our representatives, right? And that, you know, every one of these things should have like a complete room set off to a side with, you know, built as a skiff. So, you know, it's an instant secure facility. So, you know, Galley can grab a guy, like, what are these 3 questions that you don't fucking want to answer, right? And we'll get it on the record, but it'll be secure, right? And then come back out and finish the fucking thing. You know?
No, they don't want that.
Well, they've done that. They've done that before because a lot of the Benghazi witnesses were closed hearings, and that's just where they questioned back and forth. You know, in a closed hearing, that they could provide their oversight, and that was their point. They're like, if you're not going to answer this, then we can't do our job. Like, our job is to the American people. We're supposed to provide oversight and make sure that this crap doesn't happen anymore. You're not letting me do that.
Yeah, they don't.
That's
they don't
why
do
he
that.
said he would issue a contempt order.
Well, you know, here's kind of an interesting thing that I've noticed, which is the Justice Department, of which the FBI is, you know, a spin-off. That's all part of the executive branch. So it's supposed to be under the direct control of the president.
Is it though?
Yeah. Well, it's not at all, because he can't get. I mean, he should clear house. Any major decision makers in the FBI and Justice Department, based upon their behavior, should go at this point. But he can't for political reasons. And then they say Congress, which is supposed to have oversight of them, can't know answers to certain questions because it's too sensitive. Mm-hmm. It's like, so basically, you are an island unto yourself that you can do whatever you want and answer to no one. It's like, that's not the way the Justice Department and the FBI are supposed to work.
Right.
It is post-Patriot Act.
The thing is that the FBI, they're not elected officials, so they don't necessarily have to answer to the voters, but they do have to answer to Congress and the House.
Yes, but well, yeah, and I agree. You're right in theory. That's the way it kind of should work. But as employees versus elected officials, they should be easily fireable.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not disputing that. Absolutely. I'm just saying is that they don't hold to the same standards as a House of Representative member or a congressman.
Part of that is
a problem.
Well, I was going to say part of that is the definition of national security was broadly, sweepingly changed during the first Patriot Act. So these guys now have a lot less accountability to government.
Absolutely. Thank you, George W. Bush. Appreciate
Hey.
Yeah, that was and really, as soon as we you know, cleared out Afghanistan and shit, they should have rolled the Patriot Act back, you know, completely.
That never should have gone into place.
Well, didn't Ron Paul push for that really strong?
But when like 99% of the shit you say is batshit crazy, when you come up with a good idea, no one's going to listen.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, Junior actually is I don't know. I think he's a far better politician. He's a smarter man, but.
Do you remember the last time a senior ran for president, and he was like, I think it was a debate, but it was something similar to that, and his eyebrows started moving. He had like fake eyebrows, and like one started falling down.
Oh, are you talking about? You're talking about the Canadian guy?
No.
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
The same thing happened to him too.
Well, except his was like definitely real, and it was definitely. I mean, it looked like a caterpillar crawling on his face.
Yeah, I found a video actually.
Oh yeah.
Ron Paul, he's so weird. I put him in the same category as Ralph Nader, just like these crazy old guys that are just gonna try and try and try.
But at least, you know, Ron Paul is at least attempting to educate people on the Constitution and, you know, the actual historical doctrine, whereas a lot of these other guys are just kind of ignoring that we have a history.
Well, they don't ignore the fact that we have a history. They're trying to erase the history.
Yeah.
Right. They're trying to retcon. You
Yeah.
know?
All
I
the
mean,
bad stuff
literally.
never happened.
Right? Because heaven forbid we learn from our mistakes.
Yeah. You know, who was I talking to about this? It might have been last night about I live in a state in the South where I remember one day I was doing some business down at the courthouse, and I was like wondering why there was two men's room, like, because I was walking out of the men's room and I'm looking at the door to another men's room and I'm going, why the fuck would they do that, right? And then, 15 minutes later, it's like, oh, there's two sets of fucking water fountains too, and the ladies' room was set up in the same way. And I'm going, holy shit, that's from when segregation was a real thing. See, and there's people that want to take that away from us because, because it doesn't, they really want to reconstruct America historically because and it doesn't make any sense at all because those who forget history are doomed to repeat it, and that's the quote that just keeps going over and over in my head with this shit, and it's terrifying to me in a lot of ways.
But Irate, we already are repeating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, we have a generation of kids that are saying we should try communism again.
Because
And
it was
also,
never tried before.
we have segregated graduations at Harvard.
I know. I heard about that.
Yeah. And also the fact that they're removing monuments, historical monuments, whether it's justified or not. I really couldn't care less if there was a General E. Lee monument in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? It's there. It's history. Get over it.
I think the problem with removing these things is when you replace the monument with another monument, you're just going to end up with, this is the new monument, former site of this.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger problem here is that it creates it's a slippery slope issue. As soon as you start removing your own history, what's to stop you from removing furthermore? Outside of the scope of white supremacy and KKK and the Confederacy and all that,
Right.
it's dangerous. It's just very.
Oh God,
dangerous.
there's such a wonderful the guy from 1984. Help me out here.
Who?
George
Winston?
Orwell?
There's such
Farm?
a great George Orwell quote about this that I wish I could remember because it would be
He who
perfect.
controls the past controls the present.
He
He who controls the present controls the future.
I don't think it's very similar to that, but even a tad bit more apt. But I can't remember what it is now. So yeah, I just wasted 45 seconds of everyone's
No,
life.
you didn't, man. I'll look up. I will Google famous George Orwell quotes. Right?
Actually, I just tried to Google "he who controls," and it just went the spice.
The spice
Indeed,
creates
indeed.
life.
As has been previously mentioned on this stream just the other week, the best book of all time.
I need some ice. I will be right back.
Who controls the past controls the
No.
future.
I was going to say, who controls the past controls the power. That's close to it. I think it was in like iRobot or something like that, wasn't
All
it?
right, here's the quote, okay? Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
I still think it's a different one. Luckily, because I'm dorky and autistic in certain ways, I have a spreadsheet of thousands of my favorite quotes, and I'm looking it up now.
Oh, anything. I love Patton, man. He
He had some
great
yeah.
stuff. Yes.
Patton, Heinlein, and Asimov have created some of the most epic quotes for modern America.
However, well,
And George
you
Carlin, of
kind
course.
of ruined it with modern America because I was going to say no one compares to Winston Churchill,
Okay.
but that's not really modern America. No.
Yeah.
I would agree. No one compares to Churchill for awesome quotes.
Oh, that whole quote about the woman saying, if we were to have tea, I would poison it, and he said, "Madam,"
No.
or something like that, right?
Here's the quote. Here's the quote. If I were your wife, I would poison your tea. He said, if you were my wife, I'd drink it.
Exactly.
And that was like, and that was to like one of the most powerful women in England at the time. That was Lady Astor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't real. Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Oh. That makes it even better.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. You know, Winston Churchill was a fascinating man. I didn't realize he said that. That's just
He was
amazing.
also a drunk.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't go faulting alcoholics.
Yeah, he's bipolar. A lot of people have
I've been drinking this
surmised
whole time.
from his what?
I've been drinking this whole time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I just started.
A good
Well,
plan.
you guys have fun with that.
This is a good plan violently executed right now is far better than the perfect plan executed next week.
Oh, okay.
That's a good quote.
I found the Orwell quote that I was referring to, and it's not the one
Okay.
that you all said.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
If both the past and the external world exist only in the mind, and if the mind itself is controllable, what then?
Yeah, here's the George Patton quote that actually begins the movie. He says, "No poor bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. He won it by making other bastards die for their country."
That's fantastic.
I want to say hey to Top Keck. What's going on?
Hi, Top Keck.
Hi, Top Keck.
Yeah.
Hey, fuckwad. What is up, my dude?
Can I read my all-time favorite quote to you guys?
Please do. That's
please
kind of
do.
what we're doing right now.
Okay, it's Heinlein, and it's from Starship Troopers. I told you that juvenile delinquent is a contradiction in terms. Delinquent means failing in duty, but duty is an adult virtue. Indeed, a juvenile becomes an adult when, and only when, he acquires a knowledge of duty and embraces it as dearer than the self, love he was born with. Dearer than the self-love he was born with. There cannot be a juvenile delinquent, but for every juvenile criminal, there are always one or more adult delinquents. People of mature years who either do not know their duty or who knowing it fail.
Well, since we're pulling out the quotes here, although it's impossible to say what my favorite Winston Churchill quote would be, this is one of the funniest. Men occasionally stumble over the truth, but most of them pick themselves up and hurry off as if nothing ever happened.
All right, here's one. One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I'll never know. Groucho Marx.
Groucho.
Yeah. You know when elephant hunting in Alabama, you know why in Alabama? The Tuscaloosa. That's Groucho too.
Yeah.
I got one for you. I don't like pain. It hurts me. That's Daffy Duck.
I just watched The Greatest Thing Ever.
What's that?
Uh,
What? Well, wait. I know what it cannot possibly be. There is a Netflix comedy, quote-unquote, comedy special called Annette by someone named, where is it? Hannah Gadsby.
Oh, God.
So it cannot possibly be that.
It wasn't. Although, probably if I watched 7 minutes of that, I would not be here. I'd be in a closet somewhere with a noose.
So can we find you in the club?
Yeah, it's going down.
So what did you say?
I just caught, there was a news article Steven Crowder apparently confronted someone who said that they were going to slash his tires. So he flew to the guy's work, and I guess it's a transgender man, and he was just in there, and he's like, "Man up! It's time to face your responsibilities. This is part of being a man." It's the funniest fucking shit I've ever seen. And then they call the cops on Steven Crowder, and the cops ended up filing a report against the guy who wrote those posts. So they called it was like a juice bar or something that the guy worked at, and they called the cops from the juice bar. They meet Crowder outside. Crowder's like, "Look, I was filming, you know." They're like, "Yeah, you're allowed to film. It's a public space. You can do what you want." And then, you know, he's like, "We were just trying to get this guy to apologize." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "But we'd like to make a report." And they're like, "Fine." So they took Crowder's report. And they went inside and told the guys from the store that they had no right to do what they were doing.
You can't film me because I don't want you to show the world what I really look like.
It was like one of the funniest things. He walks in there, he's like, "Why are you telling people you're going to slash my tires? Do you know who I am?" And the guy's like, "I don't recognize you. I don't know who you are. Why would I know?" And he pulls out this poster with his Facebook post with his name all over it. And he's like, "I don't know. You talk about me enough."
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I don't think you can do something like that in my state.
Yeah, where was that?
Gotta be Texas. It's gotta be Texas. That's where he lives.
God,
Austin, Texas.
Oh, Crowder lives in Texas. I did not know
He
that
lives
either.
in Austin. He lives in Austin.
fuck.
He lives in the crazy city of
He
Texas.
lives in Red Central.
Oh, I found the video.
Except for Austin. Think of Austin like a cleaner
I don't think
San
he
Francisco.
lives there. He
Yeah.
flew to it.
No, he lives in the area. He lives in Texas.
The guy that he confronted is such
Texas
a cliche.
is huge.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
Did you look him up?
Yeah, I found the video, and he has like the nose, the gauges in the ears. He has a nose ring, and he has a shirt with the fist up, you know, like Black Panther style.
Sexy.
Such a and side shaved hair.
Wow, I can tell you one thing he doesn't have. A
Balls.
job.
Not in Texas.
Put it in Stream. Shit. Stream chat. There you go. I said it.
There you go. It's in general. Oh, you want me to put it in chat?
Yeah, you can just put it in the group chat, or if you want to put it in regular chat, yeah, go ahead. Actually,
He lives in Dallas.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I knew he lived in one of the big major cities. Austin has gone totally crazy, though. I have some funny stories about the rules they've made there. If anybody ever wants to hear them.
What was it? It says the Austin Chronicle wrote an article about it. It says Juiceland employee harassed by right-wing comedian.
Okay, so I take back the fact that he doesn't have a job, but let's face it, are we surprised that it's for the equivalent of a Starbucks?
It's like Jamba
no
Juice,
one's-
but in
No one's
Austin.
surprised.
Yeah, and I was gonna say you don't have a lot of coffee bars in Texas because it's so freaking hot. Usually, what you find is juice bars and permanent structure ice, the shaved cones, the shaved ice cones. Yeah,
right.
those are permanent structures there too because it's just hot.
Do they sell iced coffee there?
So it's like water ice, basically.
Yeah, you can get iced coffee, but usually the coffee isn't that great. At least not in the places I've lived in Texas.
Yeah, iced coffee doesn't even sound like it's any good to me at all. I mean, I can barely drink hot coffee, and if I do, I have to fucking put milk in it and make it as sweet as possible because it's just I can't stand the flavor.
Oh, black bitter coffee is so wonderful,
Me too. I was gonna say I drink black coffee actually.
especially if it's cheap coffee.
Oh no, see, I do the hand crank grinder and
Oh,
French
yeah.
press.
You know what I do? Folgers, and it's perfect.
Oh God.
Yeah, but you drink a lot too, so
Well,
Folgers is
How do
like,
those two come into play?
I don't know. From my experience of living around a lot of people that drink frequently and drink heavily, Folgers and instant coffees are far more preferred to them than whole bean coffees.
Yeah, because it doesn't taste like anything.
Well, you know, I have a sister that I'm really close to, and she likes fancy coffee, the kind probably that sounds like you do. And I swear to God, every time I drink it, it tastes like someone like cut a branch off of a tree, like dipped it in like a liquid smoke and barbecued for a while, and then ground it up, and then brewed it. I mean, it just. Ugh. I want my coffee to taste like coffee.
With chicory in it. Actually, it sounds like that. Yeah, it's very popular in there.
Folgers is the garbage juice of coffee.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
No,
I mean,
well, I never.
I would rather smell actual garbage juice while sipping cafe au lait on Bourbon Street.
There's much worse coffees out there.
I have never claimed to be
If you're
classy.
sitting on Bourbon Street sipping cafe au lait, then you probably will be smelling garbage juice.
Is it
I
at
know.
Cafe
Yeah.
du Monde, though? That's the question.
Yes, it would be.
There you go.
Okay, I must be a total coffee snob because I have never tasted a McDonald's coffee drink of any sort. I've never wanted to.
Don't.
They're not bad.
Don't. They're horrible.
You're all snobs.
No,
That
I'm not a
brings back the-
snob.
It brings back the nightmare picture of the old lady that burnt her lap.
Well, yeah, I mean that was just idiocy. But no, I've had McDonald's coffee. I did a drive down to Florida, which was almost a 24-hour drive, and at the time McDonald's was the only one that was open, and it barely kept me awake, and it tasted like shit.
By the way, I'm gonna go with Tennessee Marine's comment in chat. Coffee and a Marlboro in the morning.
Hey now. Hey now. Well, for me, it's a coffee and a Camel Turkish Gold in the morning.
Close enough.
Close enough.
These are all things of which I do not partake.
Oh, Jesus.
No, well, you know, cigarettes
Don't
are horrible.
at me. Don't
Cigarettes
at
are
me.
horrible for you, but there's a reason why they sell billions of them a year.
I was gonna say the only time I really like a cigarette in the morning is when I've had amazing sex the night.
It's ironic you should say that considering the rest of his comment. Coffee and a Marlboro Red in the morning are almost as good as sex.
Yeah,
Almost.
that's what made me think of it actually. So I read an article that made me kind of go, why is this a big deal? Because it's always a thing that happens in this country.
What is that?
Go ahead.
Greenland has a city that is worried about having a tsunami hit because there's a giant iceberg next to their town that's calving right now.
Okay.
Where?
Greenland?
Greenland.
Is there
You know.
anyone on Greenland to be worried?
There's
Not
like
sure.
180 people in this town. Hold on.
So that's all of Greenland.
It's like 90% of the population.
I mean, what's it going to wash away? Ice?
It's gonna wash away a town of 180 people, according to them. But
And that Unabomber-esque shack down in the back alley. somewhere.
I don't think that.
D.
Oh god, at least 4 feared dead after tsunami in Greenland. Bitch, go to Japan. Go to Fukushima.
I can't even imagine a real tsunami being created by even the largest of icebergs. Even those huge things that break off, like, oh, it's the size of Connecticut. It's like, even if a big chunk of that falls off, what's that really going to create?
well, okay, thinking about displacement, it's going to create a lot. The thing is, it's something that these people have been dealing with since they've lived on Greenland. It's not new. I don't know why they're acting like this is something they've never really dealt with before.
Don't
There's-
worry, I just
yeah.
read it. They moved up the slope. It's gonna be fine.
I mean, I'm looking at a picture. I'm looking at a picture of the island community. I mean, these guys chose to build their houses on an island that's about as big as a football field.
I have a hypothesis about this.
Oh, good.
I think that fucking people that call themselves journalists are so worried about writing anything political that may have a negative effect on the left will write about fucking just about anything to avoid it, right? And so they focus on stupid shit like this. Either that or they're just complete morons too. Because tsunami, I'm not sure if that would be the perfect word.
Yeah, it should be just a pressure wave.
Elevated water levels.
Right, or a flash flood.
Yeah,
it would be a more appropriate term. I just don't. Who wrote this? Is this like a Reuters release? Is this AP?
CBC. It's a Canadian
CBC
broadcast.
CBC.
The CBC is as bad as the BBC.
There's your explanation right there.
Any Canadians in the chat?
Well, judging by that picture, it just looks like the water is going to wash off anyway.
Yep.
But it looks like, yeah. Well, they're concerned because there's a river along the backside that could rush its banks. But I don't know if you've noticed, most of the houses in the picture are on stilts. So
Yep.
they're probably used to a lot of flash flooding from the heavy snow melt they get every summer.
That's
So
exactly.
yeah, I just thought it was funny. And I know why they put it up, because global warming and yada yada will produce our ice. But if you look at the actual iceberg, it shows you that the water levels have been dropping.
Right.
If water levels are dropping, that means we're getting more icebergs.
Right.
Yeah. The last measurement I think that they did at the polar ice caps, the amount of ice actually tripled.
Yep, something like that. It's a huge increase.
Yeah.
Huge increase.
The total mass of ice and snow in Antarctica is greater than it's been in the past.
Yep.
But did you notice that we changed our vernacular, like right around the time that Al Gore was like, "I'm releasing my global warming film."
Yeah. Now it's
Everything
now
started
climate
to turn
change.
around. And then instead of global warming, now it's climate change. And they're like, no, the freezing is part of the global warming. And I'm like,
here's the deal.
Hold on, what?
We've got another name for climate change. It's called the seasons. Right? The climate changes 4 times a year, people. You know?
Well, we have two here where I live.
You know what I'm saying, though? I mean, it's ridiculous. Climate change applies. It can apply to 2 weeks. You know?
It's called weather.
Exactly. It's called weather. Exactly.
Well, you know,
it's stupid to deny climate change, and it's stupid to say that it's going to cause this big catastrophe, because it's been the history of the world, kind of. I mean, that's how we know that we have different ages, because we look at the way the rocks are.
I'm not denying that climate changes. What I am objecting to is the fact that mankind is responsible for it and can affect any change to that effect.
Well, I was going to say, ice core samples suggest that we're actually overdue for an ice age. Yeah. And it looks like we're actually entering into another mini ice age, like we're supposed to every 5 to 1,000 years, according to the ice core samples.
Yeah.
I
hope so too.
Sorry, Adamantine, I interrupted you.
I was just going to say, I've noticed in the last year that there were a lot of places last winter where there was a lot of snow and it was very cold, and and you never really heard that addressed in terms of climate change, or you heard it addressed as in, well, that's weather, that's not climate. They're 2 different things. Which that's a fair point. But then every like heat wave we have, climate change. It's like it's the exact opposite. I mean, it's the exact same thing. It's just the other side of the coin of like the super cold, super snowy winters. But your story's changing as far as like what it means.
Well, I would say that summers have actually been less hot over the last 5 years.
We had better hope that another super volcano doesn't erupt, because that is a near extinction event.
Oh, if Yellowstone goes off, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Well, you guys over in California land, yeah.
I'm not in California land.
No. The whole world. It's going to be like a nuclear winter.
I'm the closest to Yellowstone.
Okay, so theoretically that could happen. The likelihood of a volcano actually exploding like that is incredibly low, because we have active tectonics.
That's true.
That's the other half of that they don't mention.
Yeah, and people don't understand that. Explain to them how tectonics works and what you meant by that, because that's a scientific word that gets bandied about that I'm not sure a lot of people know exactly. Go ahead.
Okay.
School us, man.
Okay, I'll give you guys the same lesson I've given my oldest. Okay, so the plates that are on our planet, they shift constantly because we have a very hot, pressurized core to the planet. Now, volcanoes and lava and magma are all parts of that core. And volcanoes are where we have thinner parts of the crust and it pops up into a pocket. Now, because we have pressure building up in those, if we don't have earthquakes or small flows or geysers and stuff like that, we'll have giant explosions. However, over the last, I would say probably 100 or so years that we've been gathering the data on plate tectonics and the shifting of the plates and earthquakes and things, we know what is healthy to prevent super explosions from happening and what happens, what factors are needed to create a super explosion on a large volcano. From what we have information so far, we are having enough earthquakes, enough small flow explosions, and there's enough activity underneath the ocean's surface at our underwater volcanoes. We don't have to worry about a pressure buildup on one of our supermassive volcanoes on the surface.
I have read though that apparently Yellowstone is behind its regular schedule of erupting.
Yes, but we've also had several other major lava flows open up in the last 2 years, haven't we?
But guys, we are responsible for this.
I know.
We can change it.
Oh my God! Even the crazies are not yet being the key phrase, crazy enough to blame us for volcanoes. But give it time.
No. I think he was emphasizing. So, like, industrialized humanity, right? We haven't been along. We hadn't even been like out of the caves long enough to have had a significant impact on the fucking, on the environment, let alone the 280, 300, 400 years of the Industrial Revolution that's, at the tail end of this thing, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Now
we've only been industrialized for 150 years.
We can reduce the speed of how much it changes by, using cleaner fuels and cleaner methods of doing shit. But I mean, that's and to blame humanity for all this shit going on, it's very disingenuous. And once again, it's one of those bullshit issues that politicians just love to ride the dicks of because they don't have to answer for account for their own behavior.
You know what I blame? Racism.
It's no. You laugh at that, man. But man, look, racism is behind it, and here's how I'm going to explain it to you. Okay?
Are you going to do it in the Alex Jones voice?
School us.
I'm just saying, man. Here's it. Okay, I'm just all verklempt and shit. I've got it. Okay. The white man has controlled what we all know about the weather for so long. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Once it started falling into everybody's hands, the people were just dumbfounded.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and this whole racist perspective of the climate is just, it had to be erased because of the reality that lays at our feet.
That's right.
And you've got to buy carbon offset points from me. Okay, as a matter of fact, if you pay me enough, if you buy enough of these carbon offset points from me, I can render you a non-racist.
Oh.
That's right.
Are you Uncle Tomming Al Roker?
I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make some money.
Oh, come on. Al Roker is not black.
but he did shit his pants.
dude, there's no such thing as black people. What are you talking about?
There's no such thing as Australia.
Australia doesn't exist. Neither do black people.
Right. I don't believe Australia exists. It's too far away.
No, really, the people that they say don't exist, they're on the flip side of the flat Earth. People don't understand that the Earth is magnetic, right? and it's the iron in our blood which holds us down. That's all. Okay, right? On the other side of it, there's people that are standing on the other side, and their iron, their blood is being held by the other, by the reverse polarity.
Logistics question though.
Mind blown.
If the iron is holding us down, how come Amy Schumer's bat wings aren't further down?
Well,
like they should be a little bit more grounded.
Oh, come on! She can afford the plastic surgery that it takes.
Have you ever have you ever seen her ankles?
She's got magnets that point the other way. She's got opposite polarity magnets, dude.
I have a question.
So maybe the fat content is too high. It pulls the iron up, I guess.
I have a question.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of room for helium in that body.
What happens? What happens if you're an Iron Chef?
Wouldn't you get shorter?
You could save the fucking world.
I was gonna say, Bobby Flay's pretty fucking tall.
Man, Mario Batali, look at him. I'm just saying, that's a lot of iron
can save
in that
the world.
Yep. And it does tend to sag towards the bottom.
That's what I'm saying. See, now y'all are following me.
Yep. I also just figured out why my back is so hairy. It's because I've been using volumizer shampoo.
Ew.
Oh. Yeah. You know what? Speaking of, I've got to shave my shoulders again.
Oh.
It's that time of year.
It's hot.
Can we not?
This is what I'm.
Irate's next video.
Shaving my shoulders, baby. Y'all laugh at it, but I really have to do that sometimes, man. It does get bad. And that joke was especially set up for Sir Adamantine because this could be his last Creem stream as a semi-regular, as a mostly regular.
Yeah, because he's talking about back hair.
But yeah,
I'm not saying I'm leaving because of other things. I'm saying I'm leaving because of your hair.
Exactly.
I can't say that I blame you.
I'm sorry, Irate. You remind me too much of Robin Williams. I can't work with you anymore.
Robin Williams used to be a simian, yeah.
At least, man, that dude was funny though, you know.
Yeah,
What a sad. Yeah,
to go back to a previous thing that was said about was it Trey Gowdy being equated to Mr. Medicare. I was talking to Adindro, and I mentioned that if I ever get to the point where Mr. Medicare makes a video about me in a la, his more recent ones, just take me out back and put 2 in the back of my head.
Right? You're right. If I
you.
ever catch Medicare's attention, somebody shoot me right away.
Well, here's the funny thing about what happened to Jeff Holiday. I remember he went on the Ralph Retort stream, and he was just mocking him. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just waiting for a Medicare video to drop, and then I'm leaving." And then months later, Medicare calls him a cunt.
See, I've had the misfortune to engage with his audience.
But it doesn't matter because Jeff Holiday is always going to look good because he was on Dr. Phil and he was the smart guy, not the asshole.
Well, that didn't take much, quite honestly.
An asshole.
Was he really on Dr. Phil?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
it's the accomplishment of his life.
I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like, I didn't know he was having it out with this Jilly Juice girl, and then all of a sudden, here he is on Dr. Phil, and I'm going through watching my clips, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's Jeff Holiday. What the hell?
Yeah. Well, in the studio with me today, I have Jeff Holiday, and he's going to tell us that, even though the horse is in the ditch, it doesn't matter how it got there. What's going to matter is getting the horse back on the fucking road. All right?
And it needs to be vaccinated before you do that.
Exactly.
Yes, my great friend Jeff Holiday. His mission in life, this very, very important person, is to save morons from their own stupidity by pointing out the obvious. I mean, that is the work of the Lord if ever there was.
Well, just remember this, Sir Adamantine. Those with nothing to hide nothing.
And just so everyone's clear, I was not. I don't like Jeff.
I don't either.
I watched those clips to wait for the moment that Dr. Phil just like blows his stack. Like the other day, he was on. I was one of them, and he was talking about how he's bald, and he's like, "You see this?" He like looks over at this lady, and he's like, "You see this?" And she's like, "Uh-huh." And he's like, "That's a bald head. That means I've been around the block." And like I just busted out laughing, you just can't help it. Like he's so weird.
Oh damn.
He says the weirdest thing. Like to point out that someone's stupid. Like you have to really point out that you're bald. Like.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Come on,
The fact that he went on Dr. Phil to engage with this idiot was not that much of a stretch. It wasn't that much of an effort.
Well, yeah, it's like Dr. Phil's become the equivalent of the psychology version of Maury Povich.
No, I'm not even talking about Dr. Phil.
It also wasn't that much of an accomplishment. I mean, saying I've been on Dr. Phil is one half step up from saying I've been on Jerry Springer.
That's what I'm saying.
Not even. Jerry Springer used to be on prime time.
I would rather.
Dr. Phil used to do these dope interviews with like people who actually committed crimes and stuff, and they were good. Like they were compelling, they were interesting, and now he's just like, "Why are you giving your 3 daughters heroin in your bedroom?" And the woman's like, "They're my children. I love them, and I don't want them to die." And he's like, "Really? You're killing them with the heroin. Don't stand here and tell me."
Look, young lady, you're trying to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. All right? All right. Giving your youngins heroin ain't going to do that, okay? I'm just getting shit right.
My God, you sound exactly like him.
I appreciate it.
I'm happy to say that I've never seen an episode of Dr. Phil.
I haven't seen an entire episode. Well, that's not true. I've looked at the ones where he's spoken to people who are in jail or who have done like horrible things. I watched the one where he was talking to the girls who, or the family of the young girl, Skylar Niece, who was murdered by her 2 friends. And
the Slender Man
Slender
murder.
Man,
like a couple of those, like I've watched the whole episode, but they're like compelling true crime things. Like the ones with the people who are just fucking off the wall. Like I catch the clips, and it's like all you need to see is the highlights. Like nobody actually needs to see the entire thing. Like who wants to watch the entire Daniel Bregoli crap? Like,
well, what I really want to see is the interview he did with John Bonet's brother.
Who?
John Bonet Ramsey.
Yeah.
Don't know who that is.
She's
a little girl who was a pageant contestant, and she was killed by her parents.
Yeah, the one who was like 5 years old and dressed up to look like a hooker.
Yeah.
Cowboy hooker.
I'm gonna say something horrible, and I don't mean this in any way to be
yeah, you do. Come on.
No, I don't.
That little girl didn't grow up, right?
I don't mean this in any way to be mean to her, because I think she was nothing but an innocent victim the entire time. But having parents who would dress their kids up like that at that age, it may have been a mercy killing, quite honestly, because her life would have been so fucked up.
She would have been wreckage as an adult. She would have been like stripper wreckage.
Oh yeah, no shit, exactly.
I mean, if you raise your 5-year-old, your 5-year-old is destined to go under the stage name of Destiny afterward.
Yes. Well, her and Tanya Harding would have been at each other's throats.
Yeah, well, and then Casey Anthony, but that does remind me of this quote from Dr. Phil. Sometimes you make the decision right, and sometimes you make the decision right.
He did one with that guy Zachary Davis, who murdered his mom with a sledgehammer. And this guy is the creepy. Like, do not watch this at night because he is the creepiest guy. You like nightmares. I mean,
well, if you're gonna kill someone with a sledgehammer, that really would be like the literal definition of overkill.
his mom, like, and I don't even remember what the reason was. Like, he was just like, I just lost it that night. I just wanted to see what happened if I beat her brains in. It was the creepiest fucking thing, and I was just like, oh, Phil, why are you gonna do this to me at 2 a.m?
Yeah. And that Cash Me Outside girl?
Oh,
Cash me outside. How about that?
Just think about it.
Nightmare.
Just think about it. In a couple of months, you'll be awake at 2 a.m. and you'll turn Dr. Phil on and you'll see Jeff Holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather see the
That's what
sledgehammer.
happened. I was going through Dr. Phil clips, and Parsnip's making fun of me because he's like, you fucking love that shit, and I'm like, I can't help it. It's like a train wreck. I just can't look away. And all of a sudden, I just like, he's like, all right, well, let's see what Jeff Holiday has to say. And I'm like, wait a minute. Am I in an alternate reality where like YouTube is now crossing over with my Dr. Phil fetish? What the fuck is happening right now?
Well,
Really
is it bad-
confused.
Like, is it bad that every time that I hear that girl talk, that reminds me of Blake Clark from The Waterboy?
It does. She does. My
Oh,
kids
that's
get
funny.
I use it as a way to troll my kids. They start shouting at each other, and I'll walk in the room and I'll go, "You catch me outside. How about that?" And it just stops the fight because they don't know what the fuck I'm saying. It's fun.
Let me add one last shot at Jeff. Right around the time.
Does it have to be a last shot? Because
I was
I
gonna
can
say,
go all
I
night.
like something to add.
I'm trying to hold myself back for Irate's sake.
Because I can go
If
all
this were
night.
my stream, it would go on for the next 30 minutes. But right around the time that he taped that, he and I have a long history of like throwing shots at Jeff Holiday on Twitter, and he would like respond, and we get pissy little fights. Which I'm sure there's lots of people like that. But right at the time he recorded this, he froze his old Twitter account.
Oh yeah.
Started
Yeah.
a new one, which of course I followed. But then shortly thereafter, I found out I was blocked. I'm like, huh. Now he's not putting up with like the shit I send his way. But then seeing other people's tweets gradually, I realized he did some sort of Steve Shive mass blocking.
Oh yeah.
He's decided that being on Dr. Phil has made him respectable, and he can no longer sing to our level.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because
That's
he came across as a rather pompous child. He didn't really say anything other than, "This could have salt poisoning," and some Mimi style salt.
He's
Really.
a dirty hippie who thinks that less than a bachelor's degree in what was it, biology? I think makes him some sort of expert. It's
Which
like
he
you probably
flunked.
never got past like the required classes and even took a biology class, but
He actually took it in community college and he flunked it.
Amazing.
He didn't complete his schooling.
Well,
but at least his wife has some lovely underarm hair.
Look, I don't mind
and
memory.
an amazing dildo collection, right?
Dude.
I don't mind memory. Memory is fine. It's when she defends his actions that's when I have a problem.
Yeah. The last two words she
She
said to
has
me
to.
were,
That's her husband.
Yeah.
You
So?
gotta respect that. I mean,
So
you gotta stand by your man.
This isn't Tammy Wynette country here.
well, no.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like, if somebody who I'm seeing does something really fucked up in public, I'm gonna be like totally on their side. I'm gonna be like, you know what, you guys just don't know, you're fucking idiots. And then at home, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong
What
with
were
you?
you thinking?
I 100%
You
agree with you, Allie.
made me go out and defend you on this stupid fucking bullshit. So whatever happens at their home, that's between them. But
I think
she does the right thing by him.
I think Allie is 100% right, but except, what does it say about a woman who chooses to marry that?
yep.
She doesn't beat him enough.
A bun in the oven, maybe?
They already have one.
Sometimes divorce is the least.
That was my
damaging
point.
option.
Maybe that's the reason they got married.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think those two are two peas in a pod. I think they're happy together because they feel like they're a proper liberal couple.
Who
No,
voted
really.
for Trump to piss everybody off?
Yeah. But I mean, like, liberal, like, socially. You know what I mean? Like, they're the edgy type, and they're
Yeah.
hippie dippies.
Well, look, I'm socially liberal, but I have less armpit hair than she does, and I don't shave.
No, my only
and far
problem
less
with
dildos.
yeah, my only problem with either of the holidays is that they tend to go sideways at things, and I have a hard time with Jeff when he can't even explain what homeopathic medicine is correctly.
That's a good point, man. I mean,
He's completely intellectually dishonest.
yeah.
Well, I think as a general policy, it's not good to act like an expert on something you're not an expert on.
Right.
I mean, I have a pair of associate's degrees, and I did some undergrad work because I was really good at creating math equations and generating experiments. But I never claim to be papered in anything. I just say, this is what I studied in school, and leave it at that. Because I have 2 associate's degrees, but I'm not going to like go around bragging about 2 associate's degrees.
Exactly.
Well, we got anybody else we want to tear down?
Wizard of Cause.
Yeah, I saw something. Fuckwad said something very interesting. He said Wizard of Cause is contemplating quitting YouTube. I would like to hear more about that.
Well, from what I hear, he's starting a political career.
I've heard that too, man.
You think I'm joking?
No, you're not, dude.
No,
This is
I'm
exactly.
I'm laughing at the absurdity of what I assume is your truth.
No, this is definitely for real, man. And I heard this from a very reliable source that he's serious and he's going to be running. So go.
This is
go
the
for
man.
it. Go find
This
her.
is the man. This is the man who live on stream pulled his nuts out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You
Not
have
even
no
not on his
future.
own stream either. On Prince of Queens' stream.
Those
Yeah.
butt nuts.
Oh, I bet Bitch of Queens loved that.
Yep. I'll bet he did.
But okay, what is he gonna run for?
Councilman or something like that. Councilman.
Like
You got to
city
start at the bottom,
councilman?
man. I mean,
something. I don't know.
you could run for governor.
PTA. Head of the PTA. I don't know.
What state is he in?
New Hampshire.
Massachusetts.
New Hampshire. Maybe he should consider getting a real job so
New Hampshire?
he can support his child and himself.
Well,
And
yeah,
not-
but that would require not drinking as much.
And working.
I have
Doesn't
managed
labor.
to hold down a job all of my adult life, if not 2 of them, and I probably drink as much as he does, just slightly more dignified.
Well, I was
Slightly.
for him. It would be he would have to drink less. He would have less time to drink. Seriously, that's the way it came across to me when he was talking about it. Not having a job.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. Just dick.
Dog catcher. I like that, Loki.
Well, shit,
Oh.
it seems we've reached an impasse, and it is right at the bottom of the hour. Usually, this is the time where I do close the show, I think this is it would be a good call to do that now. I'd rather end it here on a high note than it fizzle into a.
Wait, the high note was Wizard of Cause's nuts.
Well, we were on a roll in my opinion, and no, remember it's all about the truck nuts, man. All right, the truck nuts. So, and on that, I'll let everybody. We'll see. We'll go with guests first, and ladies, of course, first. Tema, do you have anything you want to pimp or shell before we split?
Well, I did Sunday night. I did a paganism stream, and I lost my internet in the middle of it, so I wasn't able to finish the stream. So I'm going to be booking that stream again at some point. I'm not sure what day or what time or how late, but we will be doing that. And then I do get to pop into the cunt stream every once in a while, usually for something like Cringe of Yesteryear or Musical Literacy. And I should be setting up a stream where I get some Christians and some atheists together to discuss commonalities and differences without the ugly at some point too. So that'll be soon. So if you guys want, come look for my channel and watch out for my notifications.
All right. Let's see. And let's see. Next would be what? Jason?
Oh well. I've got my computer somewhat stable. I should be dropping some videos next week. We'll be back to streaming on Monday, probably tomorrow a little bit, but Monday definitely.
Okay.
And I really had a lot of fun. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem, man. And let's see, going in order, Johnny Hellcat.
Let's see, I have well, trying to get a script together. I'm going to try and put an actual video out on civility, pretty much just because of Maxine Waters being a twat. And I was also going to do a sort of a live kind of response criticism for another potential YouTuber, Gabby G Wiz. She has not seen, because Bo, you guys heard of Bo Burnham?
Yeah.
Well, she hasn't seen his stuff, so I was gonna do. I thought about doing like sort of a, like as it plays, kind of doing a reaction stream, but I figured it's best to avoid a copyright strike by sort of watching it through a Hangout and then doing a response after that.
Right.
And so we're going to do something like that. And then, yeah, if anyone either hasn't seen it or has any opinions on it, we'll be more than welcome to join.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, and finer print. We finally got you in here, man.
Isn't Sarah Adamantine ahead of me?
No, you're
You're a
I
guest.
broke it down as a guest. He's
Oh.
an old.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
He's
so
the
yeah,
hostess of the mostest.
yeah, I'm actually working on a video as we speak.
Kill it.
Yep, I'm gonna do a video about the TC Electronics taking out a preset because it was called Pussy Melter. And every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Weekend Warriors with me and my co-host, Big Fat Brian, on my channel. Tune in.
Sweet. And let's see. So now we go to the not so guesty people. Harlequin or Allie. What do you got coming up, sister?
So I still have to do that putrefaction video, which should be interesting. I have to edit some whale clips together that I took at SeaWorld. And then more importantly to me, I just dropped a link in the chat. That's a GoFundMe for a family that I happen to know personally. Had a pretty good relationship with the little boy. And their house burned down in a fire. They didn't have any smoke alarms in the house, and the little sister passed away. She was about 9 years old, and the grandmother was in the hospital for a few days with burns over 30% of her body, and she just passed away yesterday.
Oh wow.
So there's it's basically right now it's two little boys who obviously don't have the funds to bury their grandmother and their sister, and they're both still elementary school. One might be in 6th grade now, but maybe 6th or 7th grade. But they just pretty much lost the only family that they know. And I know the little boy that was at my school was there and watched it. So they'll need all the help and support they can get. So if you guys would just check it out and share it, that'd be awesome. I'd super appreciate it.
All right. And Sir Adamantine?
I will be doing my usual Saturday afternoon Drinks with Friends stream. Rumor has it in the last few weeks I've been particularly sloppy, so you may want to show up and look, because God knows what might happen.
The things I have seen.
I've been told things where I'm like, I said that.
I have 0 works this weekend, so.
Oh, if you show up and chat, you're coming up.
What time is this?
It's 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. London.
That's tomorrow. What about Tuesdays? You do something with Red Pill Shark, don't you?
Oh, every Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. So I don't know, sometime London time. I do a slightly more serious, still moderately drunken, political stream with Red Pill Shark.
It's pretty goddamn good.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it more than I enjoy my.
Do you enjoy what?
I said I enjoy his stream more than my own stream, so it's pretty good.
That's cool. Well, I guess it's time for me to show my own shit. So it's Irate Prostate here. This has been the Creem stream. A little special surprise on Saturday, the next ice cream episode at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, and 1 o'clock Pacific. I will be speaking with Viper Sword, a fantastic young lady from Great Britain who does a lot of the art that you see around here.
And for what it's worth, by the way,
no, it's on Sunday. It's Sunday. I said Saturday. I was thinking.
I was like, how are you guys going to be on at the same time?
No. It's 3 o'clock on Sunday. It's Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock on the July the 15th. Thank you, Uzi Cute, for catching that brain
See, now
fart.
I just won't tune in.
No shit. No, but
by the way, let me just add that Viper Sword is the greatest person on YouTube.
She's an interesting person.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah,
She's
and
so
so
sweet, yeah.
And be sure to mention that she's cute. She loves that.
And then next Sunday, I will be also in the series. Evidently, this is going to be a weekly series because I'm starting to get really interested in it. I'll be speaking with a guy named Ichabod Orange.
Icky, Orangey.
Yeah, and I might be working on trying to get him on the Scream stream with Miss Theme perhaps next week or the week after. And then let's see.
Goat Man.
I had something else. Goat Man, you made it. Thank you, sir. It is good to see you. Oh fuck yeah, Chaos 120. It's called Irate Monday with Chaos 120, and we sit around and we do kind of what we did here, but it's more focusing on stuff that I want to talk about, and that's it. So I want to thank everybody that showed up for showing up, and new subs. You made a wise decision. I just want to tell you that right now. But on behalf of everybody else here, we're going to say take care and goodbye. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.